we see this revenues. So the big story there was really the fast New York shovel ready grant that you're doing, which is really a pass-through kind of grant. The state forwarded you $7 million up front, okay? And so you still have $5 million of that to distribute, and those will be distributed upon receipt of valid spending from the companies that are doing the construction related to that project. And that's really kind of where that big blip shows up there. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next page when we go through the income statement. Okay. Non-current assets you see on in here, that's some land you have for sale, so no activity on that last year, so you'll see that this year.
We are, it's under contract, right, sorry.
I saw that note myself and I thought, what?
I think it's still on the books according to this audit.
And you have to stop living in the present.
I thought we got rid of it now.
Yep, so
Stay tuned.
Okay.
still there for now.
Okay.
Okay. Going down into our other liabilities, just those are your obligations at year end. Did have a couple new projects out there outstanding. Just Rochester Works and Layers Up are a couple of the big ones that were there. Non-current liabilities, this is that actuarially determined pension liability you're required to put on there, and I won't go into too much detail on it, but basically the pension system, you participate in the New York State pension system. You're required under the auditing or accounting standards to report your portion of either the surplus or deficit in that plan. The plan's, I believe, 98% or 93% funded, nearly 94% funded. So there's only a small deficit, but you recognize your piece of that under the auditing standards. There's an actuary who comes up with those numbers. They tell you what it is, you put it on your books. You have no ability to make adjustments to that. It's just, those are the numbers. So that's what it's there. We call attention to it just because that's what it is, and it does shift year to year. For you, included in that this year, and just to mention it, you did adopt a new accounting standard that requires you, it talks about compensated absences, so paid leave. And so in the past, you've reported your unpaid vacation time at year end. Now we're reporting a liability for sick leave. So you have folks that have accumulated sick days, and GASB requires you to estimate how much of that's actually going to get paid out, and you put a liability on your books. And didn't materially impact anything. It was about $15,000, but just to mention that that's there and you didn't adopt it this year. Okay, and overall we can see that net position improved about $1 million. Okay, if we go to the next page, we'll take a look at what's going on there. Any questions on the balance sheet before we move forward? Okay.
Is there another page?
There should be a statement of net position in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Changes in revenues and expenses.
Yeah, right.
So, again, comparative amounts, we can look year to year. Fee income down a little bit, but last year you had two very large projects totaling about $5.3 million. This year you had one very large project for about $3.7 million. Okay, so down a little bit, but really you still had large projects there. Pass-through grant income, so this is that fast shovel grant. So expenses and revenues recognized on a one-to-one basis. So as you have approved expenditures, you release the funds and then recognize the revenue in an equal amount. And right now, as I mentioned, you've got that money in advance. Okay. Program and community development, you did have some new programs. You call out Next Corp and some money with Rochester Works and the Rochester Careers and Construction Program. So we did see some additional expenses there. And then just some normal kind of fluctuations as far as operating expenses going related to payroll. You did have some new hires, a new hire this year, and then last year someone that's had a full year this year. And then again, I mentioned the reporting of the sick days. And that's really kind of the big variances that we see. So increase is about $1 million, is a little less than last year, but again, you had the big revenues last year. So overall, again, you finished in a good financial condition with $19 million worth of fund balance.
You know, you should be proud look at the program and community development monies for over the last 2 years. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really tremendous what we're able to do, investing in the community with the revenues that we bring in through project fees. Thanks for saying that. It's reflected here, yep.
So, Greater Rochester Enterprise is $100,000 now, annually?
Yes, because well, their fees for,
It
well,
used to
not
be
fees,
50
but
for a long time.
right, because we were just, investors in the organization, and now we also support their economic gardening program, as does Monroe County Industrial Development Corporation. So all told, Greater Rochester Enterprise gets a lot of support from the county, yeah.
Any questions on the statements? If we covered the other communications as well already, so won't go into those. You know, overall, the audit went very smoothly, very good. The team here does a great job of getting us in, getting everything we need, responding to us. And the County folks do a great job as well. The reports are in a draft form. We are still waiting for bond information. There's always a delay with that, getting that in, but that's not expected. So that's the conduit. That's when you issue bonds, you still have to report what's outstanding on that, even though it's not really your debt.
You'll have that by the end of this week.
Okay, great. And it's not expected to impact any of the numbers in the balance sheet or the statement.
And the highlighted numbers will disappear. Or the numbers will appear and the color will disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed on page 31 in the independent auditor's report, where they were stating that the COMIDA complied in all material respect within its own investment guidelines. Many of those are driven by the New York State Controller's Office, and making sure we can, yes, make changes in investments, but we still need to keep in the cash drawer the ability to cover everyday expenses should some of those investments not go well, right? Yeah.
That's right.
That's all part of the statute, I think, for the IDAs. So, nice to have it mentioned in here.
Yes, in black and white, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
What I have. Great.
Thank you, John.
I guess you also looked for risk.
Yes.
And on page 40 you said the 2 risks which are always identified in an audit are management override of internal controls and revenue recognition. The identification of a risk does not mean that it has occurred, but rather it has the potential to impact the financial statements. And we were good to go there.
Correct, yes. So as it indicates, our auditing standards recognize those risks in basically all entities. Right. So we do have to communicate that as part of that letter of communication. But as indicated, there were nothing.
No funny business going on with the staff. Okay.
Pretty boring around here.
Or just follow the rules, you know. So any other questions before we take a motion to accept and refer this to the Board of Directors, the audit report? Is there a motion? Moved by Rhett, seconded by Ann. Any additional comments, changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
And thanks to our staff. My goodness, that is what is known in the trade as a clean audit.
Yes, sweetly clean.
And everyone's, happily working with one another. I appreciate your efforts for us.
Thank you.
All right,
you.
thank you. Okay, let's see, so the next item is to review our charter, which you were given a copy of. which is in the packet.
I'm not recommending any changes.
There are no changes. Did everyone review the charter? There are no changes. It's pretty standard for the last number of years that we all remember.
Was there ever a change?
No changes.
Okay.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the audit charter?
So moved.
Moved by Rhett, seconded by Ann. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Alrighty, I guess some of our members were not real interested in attending the audit committee meeting. We'll have to take that up with him.
Okay.
So then we also on page 47 have the whistleblower policy. It's just there. Any particular reason why we put that there?
We, in front of this committee?
Yeah.
It's kind of an audit function, right?
Yeah,
A whistleblower
right.
and investigation, so we've had this committee review it.
Yeah.
I think there's some language to that effect in our charter too.
Okay. Okay. So I guess the only other item for the committee is to review the self-evaluation studies on page 50. Those are the grades that we were given, the yes, no's on, you know, all of the attributes that we look for in new members or current members. You've all, well, those who were here, I guess, completed this survey, this self-evaluation, where we're looking at ourselves as the audit committee. How do we feel about being on the audit committee and how well we're performing? Looks like 2 people participated.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions there? No? Okay. All right. So we've already approved the audit and we've reviewed the self-evaluation. I think that concludes our business unless there's any other items. It's going pretty well.
It is.
All right. Are asked to, for adjournment then of the audit committee. I move.
Oh, second.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
All right, so we are closing the audit committee meeting.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Could I
Work
ask,
by
could
all.
I ask a question?